Yo. So we gonna talk about not being able, well, you thinking in your mind that you can't be in the same room as people with a certain status that you think are above you. Well, first off, this is all stuff that's going on in your mind, you know. And we get lost in a perception of ourselves, and we forget who we are, you know. We forget what we possess. And me, I believe I can be in a room with anybody, you know, speak with anybody. I understand that people are human, you know, and one thing I practice is always coming back to myself. Like, you know, as people, we can become nervous in situations, but when you really think about it, it's like, it's just a person, you know. And you yourself, whether it's a celebrity, a supervisor, anybody with some type of status, serious status, you belong in a room with them, you know. You can speak with the best of them, but you have to develop that confidence. You know, if you never take time and develop yourself into a person that understands that someone that you might want to collaborate with or that you might be working beside, same thing. These people have missions, they have obstacles. So when you're beside these people, they're going to have to be confident that you can be a good, you know, a good person that's beside them, a person that wants to listen, a person that wants to learn, and mainly a person that, you know, can just keep their cool, just by understanding that there is an objective to be handled. It's an objective when you are potentially working beside somebody, you know. So don't ever think that you cannot be in a room with someone that's just as human as you, that put their pants on one leg at a time, you know. It's very important to understand that once you build your mental capacity to a certain level, you will be it'll be easy to communicate with someone on any level, you know. But if you always putting yourself down here and thinking that people are above you because they might have some type of more money, or you might have some type of popularity, none of that really matters, you know. It doesn't matter because they're just as human as you, you know. Take steps in development. I always go back to personal development. It's so important, and it's what I've been working on for multiple years, you know. Just relaxing myself and understanding that, you know, we all do have anxieties in certain situations, but at the end of the day, we just all people on a mission, you know. We all have missions, you know. And if you want to grow, you have to understand that you will have to remain calm in just many situations, you know. It's not nothing to ever be nervous about when you around somebody that might be kind of intimidating, or somebody that's like, you know, just somebody that got a little more experience than you, you know. These people are not there in place to judge you. Don't think you got to prove anything to them either. Just be authentic as possible. You know, be authentic as possible. And once they see that you can speak and see that you got that confidence, then that's when it's going to be like, well, you know, they will want to work with you or something like that. But if you got somebody that is, you know, that might be looking to you to be a partner, and you all shaky or whatever, and you losing your cool, you might just blow your chance right there, you know? So remember to come back to yourself, you know, and don't be scared to make a mistake, you know? Don't be scared to make a mistake. If you do, so be it, you know. Just roll with it, and come back mentally, you know. And when the pressure is on, you know, just know what you showed up for, you know. Remember that, you know, the way people see you, the way you see yourself, people probably see you way different than what you see in yourself. They probably see you as powerful while you thinking you know, just regular old you know. But you know, you being able to be in a room with anybody, it boils down to just the things you've been through, the personal development that you have gained, because you have to be built to be a person to be around someone with some type of power. You know what I'm saying? You definitely had to do a lot of work in your past to get to a certain point. So it all just comes back to what you've done in the past to harden you, what you've been through, having ice in your veins, for real, you know, having ice in your veins. Because when in a big moment, anybody can fold in a big moment, you know. But when you stand on your own too, not only is it a confidence booster for you, but it might lead to other opportunities, you know. And I always come on here and I just give my thoughts straight off the head. It's like I have no script, no nothing, but I'm just speaking behind music, you know. And again, I always say in my videos, this builds my confidence. Sometimes I can veer off, but I always come back to my topic, you know what I mean? Because I know one day I'm gonna be speaking publicly in some type of fashion to people, you know, which I'm doing now. It's just over the internet. But you know, remember your power, remember your skill, remember that people may need to hear what you have to say. So make sure you say it with conviction. Make sure you say it with bass, power in your voice, you know, so people know that you mean it. Because the things you say, it means something, you know. And it all boils down to confidence. Be confident in yourself. You know, it's so easy to lose the confidence because you might have everyday conversations with people that they're about small talk, you know. Understand that the things that you say, they hold weight, and you do have to stand on them, you know. And that if you do want to grow in your life, one day you will be saying something to someone important that will take what you say seriously. So just the power of the tongue, it is very, very, you know, important. Again, just focus on, you know, just speaking. Open a dictionary, your vocabulary, slow down when you speak, and make eye contact. Let people know that you are in a room, and you know you don't have to be the smartest, but you do want to show that you are present. You know, you're in that moment. You know, open your ears, and when these people are speaking, make sure you are listening. You know, make sure that you become a great listener, because a question might be asked to you. And if a question is asked to you and you don't got the answer to it, and you're not answering with conviction and with confidence, then first off, you might just blow your shot. And that's something that you don't want to do if it's a great opportunity for you. And this could come down to any situation, no matter if you're working beside just, again, someone that's a co-worker or something. It don't matter. But, you know, if you want to go to the next level with your speaking, it is definitely important to let people know that you're there through your posture. You know, you ain't got to be all stiff, but at least just, you know, have some stature with it, and, you know, just be you, just be authentic as possible, because you deserve to be in any room, but you do have to work for it and learn skills that keep people engaged when you speak. You know, communication is crucial to your success. You know, and you got to know when to switch it up. You got to know when to use certain language. We all use Ebonics, and you know, some words that you use in the streets among your peers, you might not want to use in a room full of people that's ready to give you a big check. So you got to know when to switch it up. And people might say that's fake. Ain't nothing fake about that. It's about knowing your environment. You don't gotta speak Ebonics in an office meeting. You know, show that you can switch it up. You know, show your versatility in any situations, and most people are actually good at that, but some people lack awareness when it comes to that. And that's why it's important to read. You know, just keep some just keep a good amount of words in your arsenal. You know, keep your vocabulary right. School, most of us graduated, so we think that we don't gotta learn no more. We don't even touch a book after we graduate, and that's really when your mind begin to fry. You know, that's when your mind is just like you just working, and you just going through the cycle. But education is every day. At least for me, education is every day. I don't care if I read, you know, 1 or 2 pages before my eyes close. I try to read something. You know, I try to put my mind on something that at least takes me away from the internet, but just allows me to see words in a formal sense. You know, about last weekend, I was in the dictionary just looking up words that I could add to my arsenal. I'm like, I like this word. I think I seen the word grotesque. Say grotesque. Okay, I like that. And it was 2 other words that I saw that caught my interest. But I'm always looking to grow my vocabulary, because there's so many words that I could say to somebody and they might not know it. And I'm like, you know, it's just a different way. It's different ways to say the same thing. It's many different ways to say the same thing, and it's all about how you articulate. You know, it's all about how you deliver your message. And another thing is, you see, I talk with my hands. That's just how I express myself, like a lot of people do. But body language is so important in the way you speak. I could probably be on here and turn it on mute and just move my hands, and you'd be like, I feel what he's saying just because he's moving his hands. But I've learned a lot of things through just personal development, small things. You know, it's just all about learning. I can't even say secrets. It's just attention to detail when you deliver a message and when the message is delivered to you. Knowing when to be quiet and when to speak and not cut nobody off or over talk them. It's about being patient in your listening, being patient in your listening. That's very important. In school they said that's why you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. So again, you can be in a room with anybody. I don't care if it goes from being in a room with Oprah or down to being in a room with a janitor that you just want to pass a message to. It don't matter. Being able to articulate with different people in certain levels of life is so important, because when you are able to be versatile in your speaking, it can take you to places that you have never imagined before, and that's why I get on this platform and I talk, because for me it's not always about how I deliver a message. I'm just articulating off my mind. Like I said, it's no script, but I like finding flows for my words. I like making sure I use my words correctly. So all this is just, I wouldn't say practice because I'm delivering a message, but it's confidence building for the most part, and it's practice for the bigger rooms that I'm going to be in. I know this. So again, you can be in any room you want. That's what this topic is about. I always go back to the main topic, but you have to see it. You have to practice. Even if you got to talk to yourself, sometimes it's good to have a few lines, a script or whatever. I thought about using a laptop, but it just don't work for me going in between notes and really trying to just get my thoughts off. I can't do it. I'd rather just mess up on here and just try to flow through it. But one thing I go back to as well is just, sitting back and taking the time to think about what I'm going to say, because it's very important to what you say now is always important to just, it might come back full circle somewhere. Let me say that. So work on your public speaking, whether you at work, whether you in front of your family, whether you just want to talk to somebody that you've never spoken to before. It takes confidence. It will have you out of your comfort zone, but it will build you and prepare you for that moment that you might got to step up and say something to somebody that you may admire, or someone that inspires you. Keep learning new words. Keep growing in the way you articulate. Again, because it will take you places that you have never imagined. I'm just glad I work on my skills, and I continue to. That's my message for this evening. I holla at y'all.